I am, we get sometimes my internet goes out. So I live in the countryside now, and
Uh,
I have my internet is actually fast. It's pretty fast, but it's I don't know. Sometimes it just goes out for no reason for maybe a couple minutes. It's very frustrating, and especially if you're live streaming, that's bad. You don't want
yeah.
that to happen. Is yours satellite internet, or is it landline internet like Ethernet? What kind? Do you know what kind of internet you have?
I use. I don't know how to say. I don't really know
Yeah,
about internet. Yeah, I don't understand about that.
yeah. That's a lot of people. A lot of people don't. But some people now are getting satellite internet, so they can get it directly from space, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh, I
I
think
want
it's
to do
like
that.
satellite or something. I'm not sure.
Well, one of them is called Elon Musk.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, he's got a company called SpaceX that sends rockets to
Yeah.
space.
Oh. He obsessed to live in Pluto, Mars.
Yeah, he wants to. Yeah, he wants to die on Mars. I think that's his plan.
Yeah,
And one of
that's
the
weird.
things that they do is they have satellites up in space
Yeah.
that send internet down anywhere in the world. And if you stand outside at night and you look up and you can see the stars where you are, you can see the Starlink satellites going by. You can check them.
Okay.
It's pretty
I will
cool. It's
check.
pretty cool. Do you have a good view where you live? Do you have a good view of the stars?
I think it's good, but there are a lot of people who there are many people here. So when it was good for for yesterday because the light off, so we can see the sky pretty better lah.
Yeah.
Better.
It's called when you can't see the sky very well because you live in an area with a lot of people and there's a lot of light. It's called light pollution. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So when I was living in New York, I saw maybe there were two. I could see two stars every night, just two stars. Now I can see thousands of stars, and it's amazing. I can
Um,
even see the Milky Way, the band of the Milky Way. I can see that too.
really? You
Yeah,
can see that?
yeah, I can
Wow.
see.
I've
I can
never
see it.
seen it here.
Yeah,
Even
it's pretty
if
cool.
even if we have no light here, we cannot see it here.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, very beautiful. Well, we've got a few people joining, watching live. So if you have any questions for Tika, let us know. But we're going to be talking about today, and just to check, Tika, you can see my screen, right? You see the word phrasal verbs on there.
So you are live now?
Not that it matters, but yeah, yeah, we are.
Okay. I think I'm gonna join
Oh, you're
with
gonna
another.
join? Make sure you put it on mute though, because if the sound goes over, then it'll
Yeah,
start. There will be feedback, and it'll be confusing.
yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Um, but do you see the blackboard that I have up, Tika?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
I can see it.
And you can see the word phrasal verbs at the top, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. So I wonder if you know what that means. Do you know what a phrasal verb is in general? I want to talk about this specific type of phrasal verb, which is I think a very interesting thing because it has many meanings. But first, I think we should say what it is.
I think I learned a lot about it, but I cannot remember because there are many phrasal verb I learned like clauses. Oh,
Right? Can you
phrasal verb
remember
is
any
like
examples of one? Yeah,
phrasal verb. I'm kind of an idiot. I think.
you're not an idiot. Don't worry. I'm an idiot. That's true. That's been proven scientifically, but you're not. Uh,
Mm,
what if I gave you one and I'm going to ask you what it means, and then you can tell me what you think. You can just guess, and if it doesn't matter if you're wrong. It's totally okay. Okay.
okay.
Let's try this one. Can you see the writing on my screen?
Yeah, come across.
Come across. So first of all, let's notice the what types of words these are, right? So this is a, you know what type of word this is? Noun,
I
verb,
think
adjective.
across like come over.
Come over would be another one. That would be another one,
Um,
yeah. Come over is one.
So phrasal verb has different meaning like that.
That's the unique thing about phrasal verbs. Yeah. That's one of the things that makes them special is that they have a lot of meanings. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the
Oh yeah.
structure is you have a verb. The first one is a verb, and then the next one is going to be either a preposition. Do you know what a
Yeah.
preposition is?
Yes, I know.
Can you
Preposition
give me
is
some examples?
mm, preposition. Like
I
oh,
grabbed the wrong coffee cup. It was
I'm
this one
blank. I'm blank.
has been dry for 2 days.
Oh,
Like across, like to, of, for, in,
oh,
at, by,
um,
around, from, with, that kind of word. And
yeah.
I see someone in the chat just put come on. That would be one as well. Come on. If you guys have others, that's awesome. Or it
Mm,
could be an adverb.
yeah.
Adverb. So across could be an adverb or a preposition. It depends on how it's used. So either
Mm,
one is okay. All right. So and we have way more. I mean, we could do come across, come over, come on, come to, I guess. But let's stick with come across. Have you heard this one before?
I have that, but I don't really remember what's the meaning of it.
Well, there isn't only one. There's actually a lot of different meanings. So
Yeah.
what I would like to do is I'm going to give you an example, a couple examples, and then we can kind of explore it a little bit. Is that okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay, cool. Cool. So I'm going to pop up a few examples here, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay, would you mind, Tika, would you mind just reading through these for me?
Okay, all of them?
Yeah, if that's okay.
Okay. I'm trying to not come across as rude, but I really need a plan as I asked for it last week. Could you send it today or tomorrow? If I come across any really interesting new musicians, I will definitely let you know.
Your pronunciation is really nice. Your pronunciation is great. You have very natural, clear pronunciation. You're really good at reading
Um,
too. Okay, so these are two different meanings of come across. Did you notice that? Let's start with this one. If I come across any really interesting new musicians, I'll definitely let you know.
think
Uh,
like
if
cross mine.
if okay, let me give you another one. If I yesterday when I was walking home, I came across a really interesting coffee shop that I had never seen before.
Oh, it's like
Or I could say yesterday I was reading an article and I came across a really shocking fact.
uh,
So I'm reading an article, I'm walking down the street, I'm listening to music, and then
sud- suddenly think about it.
you suddenly think about it because you discover it or find it. So it's kind of like, I would say it's kind of like discover,
Discover.
but
I can
yeah,
write it. I will
it's a
write it.
it's a feeling. Yeah, go ahead and write it. Discover,
Yeah.
or maybe find by accident.
Oh.
Maybe find by accident would be a good one as well. But discover is kind of like that too. You know how if I think, oh, there's a coffee shop there, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
there. and visit it. I didn't come across it because I planned to go there. I wanted to go there. I meant to go there. So I probably wouldn't use come across for that one. Come across is a feeling of, oh, what's this? Ooh, oh, interesting. That's usually the feeling we get.
The feeling like you just know about it.
Yeah, you just found it. You didn't know it. You didn't plan for it, and you just sort of found it.
Okay.
So let me
Cool.
ask you. Let me ask you a question, and maybe you can use come across to explain it. Right? Um, what's your favorite music group?
Music group.
Yeah, do you have a favorite
I
band or singer?
band singer. I think I like Charlie Puth.
Charlie Puth.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I always see Charlie Puth on TikTok. That's how I know Charlie Puth. Isn't he the
Yeah.
guy who goes, "What if there was a song that went do 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 do," and then he makes a song out of that, right? Is that Charlie
Yeah.
Puth? He's got
Yeah.
curly
That's
hair, he's very handsome.
yeah. Hands
Yeah.
on.
I just know him from TikTok. And then I realized, "Oh, he made those I thought he was just a guy on TikTok." And then I
Yeah.
realized, oh, actually, he's the guy who made these really famous songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you find a Charlie Puth? How did you discover Charlie Puth?
Oh, when it was about when he released a song with Selena Gomez, We Don't Talk Anymore. I
Hmm.
tried to find
Ooh.
out about him.
So you just heard it. You just heard the
Yeah,
song. Yeah.
the
Do you remember
song.
where
Yeah.
you heard it? Remember what you were doing when you heard the song?
Uh, I immediately look for the song by the lyric because I don't know what's the title of the song.
Yeah.
Just find it on the Google, and I found it eventually.
But when you heard it the first time, what do you remember what you were doing when you heard it? Were you in the supermarket? Were you at home?
Oh, I think when I was hanging out with my friends in high
Okay.
school.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, and back in high school. Okay.
yeah,
Um, long
years
time
ago.
ago.
Yeah,
All right. So how would you? Cause, okay. So you were hanging out with your friends, and then you heard this song, and then you went and you searched it, and you found, oh, I like Charlie Puth. Could you use the phrasal verb "come across" to describe how you discovered Charlie Puth?
okay, so come across where when I was hanging out with my friends, I come across to something to an interesting song,
Hmm.
and I immediately tried to look for the song.
Yeah.
Is that?
Okay. There you go. Okay. I want to change one thing about your example. I was hanging out with my friends. That's
Yeah.
perfect. And I came because it's in the past. If it's
Oh
in the
yeah.
present, it's come. I came
Yes.
across, and then you used to. I would want to cancel to. A cool song. Okay, and then you would give the rest of what you said is perfect, right? So we just need come across, and we can imagine that we replace it with the word discover. I discovered a cool song. I heard a cool song. But it can be used for lots of things: walking down the street, reading something online, music. All this we can use come across for all of these things. It's pretty useful. Got it?
Yeah.
And you can, if you
Pretty.
want, you can practice a few more examples maybe after class. And if you want to send them to me, that's fine. I would be happy
Yeah.
to check them for
I
you.
will.
Okay, now the other one though, we have to now forget that completely. Just forget about that. Now we have another one for come across. I know this is a simple phrase, but it has so many meanings. Now we have it here. I'm trying not to come across as rude, but I really need the plan I asked for last week. Okay, so we were a little bit we were a little bit late for class today, and that's my fault because I had a technical issue, right? And if you had been a little frustrated, I'm not saying you weren't, but if you had been a little angry with me because you had other things to do, that would have been fine. That would have, because it's my fault. You could have said, I'm trying not to come across as rude, but I have some things to do, and these problems that you're having are not my problem. So let's reschedule, right? So you're saying something direct that's
Yeah.
maybe could seem a little bit rude, uh, but you don't mean it that way. You're just trying to be honest. So come across then is similar to what word do you think?
Uh, Trying to be polite.
Well, it's not okay. Now, let me give you a slightly different example. Generally speaking, I try to come across as, because I'm an English teacher, right? So I try to come across as fairly casual and not too academic and strict because I don't think that's a good way to learn English. So I have, if that's my style, I want other people to feel that I'm not trying to explain things, in a very formal way. I want to seem that way to others. I would like to seem that way. Whether it's true or not, it's kind of like seem to others. Seem to others. So, so how do you think you come across to your friends? How
Mm,
do
how-
they well, how do you seem to them?
they're kinda uh, in my friend usually not on time.
Okay, your friend is not on time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay, that's actually a good example. Your friend, you have one friend who's always late, right?
yeah.
Okay. What type of person is always late for things? What kind of person do you think?
When we have a plan
Yeah.
and I am waiting for her, but
Mhm.
she doesn't come yet
And
because she delayed.
how do you feel about that?
Kinda worried or kinda annoyed maybe
A little
annoyed.
annoyed? Okay. Annoyed, that's a
Yeah.
good word. Yeah. And um what type of person tends to be late all the time? Is there a type of
Mm,
person who's usually late for things?
Pardon?
If you're going to describe your friend, the person who's always late, how would you describe her? What type of person is your friend? He or she?
She
She.
maybe unresponsibility, unresponsible.
Yeah. Irresponsible?
Yeah.
For some reason it's irresponsible. This is called a prefix.
Yeah.
And some prefix is a thing that goes at the beginning of the word, right? And
Yes.
un, ear, these several others have the same exact meaning. So there's no way to know which one is which. For responsible, it's irresponsible. And maybe it's just how it sounds. I don't actually know. Okay, so maybe irresponsible. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, is she irresponsible? Or is she an irresponsible person? Or does she just seem that way because she's late sometimes?
She seems that way because when we have a plan, she usually delay like that, kind of late,
Right.
pretty late. Yeah.
But in general in her life, is she an irresponsible person?
No,
No.
she
Okay.
is.
So the way that she seems in that moment when she's late is actually not the way that she is in general in her life, right? Okay. So when we use this come across, we're only talking about the way something seems in that moment, at that time. And it's not about whether it's true or not. Someone could seem irresponsible based on what they do, their behavior, but they're actually not really irresponsible as a person.
Oh, I got it.
So, can I ask you to make an example using come across, connect come across to her lateness, and
Okay.
then maybe you can mention that she's not really that way or not.
Uh, I don't really have the example. Can I use your example?
No, you can use the example of your friend. That's a perfect example. The example of your friend who's always late. That's a perfect example. So let's use that example. Uh, let's use that example and try to include come across in that example.
Okay.
You don't
Like
have to
I didn't.
name names.
I didn't try to. I didn't try to come across her as
Hmm?
rude, but
She.
she.
Yeah. And also we're not using rude for her, we're going to use irresponsible instead of rude.
Oh, okay. So as is irresponsible. Okay.
She.
She. Okay. I didn't try to. I didn't try to come across her as irresponsible because she was late at the moment.
Okay. So let's I'm going to make a small adjustment to that. So you feel that she might be irresponsible in the
Yeah.
moment when she's late, right? So actually she is coming across to you. And maybe I didn't explain that clearly, so that's my mistake. So let's say this is your friend. We'll just put F here, and this is you, Tika, right?
Yeah.
So when we say come across, it's kind of like they seem that way, but it's in this direction. If they seem that way, then they seem that way to you. So we might say, my friend comes across as irresponsible when she shows up late, but actually, she's not in general. You don't have to add that part, but actually, she is coming across as irresponsible because she's always late. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For this example, I'm trying not to come across as rude. I don't want to seem rude, although I know that maybe I am a little bit. I don't want to seem that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh, good. Now you said you are a student, right?
Yeah.
So in university, and you
Yes.
okay. So you interact a lot with other classmates and things at school.
No, because I study online.
Oh, you study online. Okay, but do you interact with teachers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Through website.
Okay. How do you think you come across to your teachers? What
How do
feeling
I?
do you think they have about you?
I think kind of worried because they might,
They
they
think you're
might,
worried?
yeah, no, or like feel like just like student in general, but
Okay, but
I
I mean,
feel worried
yeah.
about them.
How do they feel about you though? How do you think they feel about you? Do you think they feel that you're very responsible, or do you think they feel you're very hardworking, or you're very creative? How do you think they feel about you?
I think they don't feel anything about me
They don't
because
feel anything.
yeah,
How is that
because
possible?
Yeah, because I don't usually text them in a private message. I just text them on in a group discussion, so they will respond to my answer, the discussion I gave to them. So I think they might think that I'm a little responsible for
Yeah.
doing my discussions.
Okay. All right. Very good. So there you would say I
I come across
as
as responsible student
to them. Yep,
to
exactly.
them.
Yep. I come I or maybe you don't know. So you could say I hope
I
I come
hope
across as a responsible student to them. I hope I do. Maybe you don't know how they feel about you because they haven't told you. But you could just say I hope I come across as responsible. I
yeah.
hope I come across as, and then you have your usually an adjective. Rude, responsible, polite, careful, hardworking, funny, interesting, boring, whatever it is, you usually put an adjective after that. So this is a really common pattern that you can use. Just circle that for come across. So that's the two most common meanings of come across. We have a couple of examples from the chat. What do you think about these? I think the distinguishing between perception versus reality. Yes. Abdo says distinguishing between perception and reality. It's it perception. Do you know what perception means, Tika?
Just we think that might be not true.
Yeah. Well, perception. It could be true or not true. That's the point. Is that we don't know. It's the perception. The perception is just maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So
Just like
perception versus real.
guessing.
Hmm.
It's like just a guessing.
It's a guess based on what you know, based on what you can see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it could be wrong. Like if you see someone driving a really really expensive car, what's the perception?
They are rich.
Right. But that could be true or not. Maybe
Yeah.
they have 10 cars like that because they're really rich, or maybe they sold their kidney to buy that car. You don't know how they
Yeah.
got that. Some people cannot afford that expensive car, and some
Yeah.
people
Only
can,
for
and you don't know.
lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, right. So yeah, perception is more like, well, this is what it seems like to me. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Um, cool. Do you have any questions about come across?
So the means come across have a lot of meaning, like more than two.
Actually, there is another one that's pretty common, but we didn't talk about it because it's so basic. That would be something like come across a bridge. Like you're over
Oh,
there and I'm over here. You're on the other side of the bridge and I say, "Come across the bridge." That would be very physical meaning, like you, me, bridge. Okay, I'm going to attempt a bridge here. That's a bridge. Okay. And I yell because there's a thing to cross, right? This could be a bridge, it could be a road. I yell, "Come across." So it has to be in the direction of moving this way. Then I would say, "Come across the bridge." And then you might say, if I call you, I'm coming across the bridge right now. I'm coming across the bridge. You're moving across the bridge. So
oh,
that would be the
it's
very
like.
basic meaning. Mhm. I didn't
Can we
mention that
use
one though. Hmm?
Can we use it for formal English?
Yeah, sure, for sure. I would say most phrasal verbs are neither formal nor informal. In fact, the difference between formal and casual English is there's not a big difference between the two. A lot of the time, formal English is just changing the way that we maybe adding some different phrases or using some different phrases. Like, for example, if I say, um, send that to me, email that to me, right? How does that feel? Polite? Not really.
I think it's neutral.
It's neutral. It could even be a little. It could even be a little too direct sometimes.
Um,
But if I add, would you mind emailing that to me? Or could you email that to me? Suddenly it feels different. If I just say, email that to me, it's like, pfft, it's kind of like a punch in the face. But could you email that to me? Would you mind emailing that to me? It feels much more polite and respectful. And a lot of formal English is just adding certain phrases to normal casual English, and the two are not that different. Although, of course, there are some expressions that are only casual and some expressions that are much more formal sounding. But that's a lot of the difference is things like that. For example, if you're writing an email, just the tone of the email is that kind of stuff. Could change it. Okay, I think we could look at one more. Is it okay if we look at one more phrasal verb?
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do I'm going to do take off, I think would be a good one to do. When you hear take off, what's your immediate thought? What do you think?
Take off to. I know the meaning. It's like to not use it.
Could you put it in a sentence for me?
Okay, take off. Uh, take off. I think he needs to take off his laundry.
Take that would be if the laundry is sitting on something, then yes.
Yeah,
If the
maybe.
laundry is sitting on a if the laundry is sitting on a surface, then yeah. What would the laundry be sitting on?
There, because someone was putting it there.
Putting it where?
Maybe on a car or
Okay.
something.
Don't know why we would put laundry in a car, but why not? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
now
maybe the owner was too lazy to take it.
that works. Okay. Now it depends on a lot of things. So if we have our car, oh my god. This is a disaster of a drawing. I apologize. Okay, so this is a car. Uh okay, the laundry is here, right? Or here. Don't
Yeah,
laugh. Don't laugh.
I think it's a good example.
Okay. Now, we would okay, if the laundry is here or here, we would take it off of the car, right? But what if it's not there? What if it's, there? It's on the in the back seat of the car or on the front seat of the car. The laundry is there. Then then we couldn't say off anymore. Then we would have to say take the laundry. We'd have to use a different word. Or maybe it's in the trunk, right? Maybe it's inside here. What word would we have to use?
Uh, take off or take off.
Take
We
what?
need to take off.
Not we could use off if it's here, and we could use
Oh,
off if it's here because it's on the car. But if it's in the
oh,
car, then we can't use off anymore. Then we have to use a different word.
Take it.
Take it. We need to add one more. Take it.
Take it. The clothes.
We have to
The
add one
laundry.
more. Take the
Take
clothes
it.
of the car.
Oh, the car.
We have to.
Uh,
What's the word there? Take them
take the
of the car.
car.
What word should we put there?
Take them out.
Perfect. Right. So we have to make sure we use the right one. But yeah, now that's not the only meaning, but that's a good one to start with because that's the kind of I guess we could say the physical meaning, the simple meaning, like come across the bridge, right? That's kind of the meaning of there's things moving around, so it's simpler, right? Now, take out has other meanings too. So we won't talk about the other meanings right now, but we could explore that. The crazy thing about the phrasal verb is that it's just so many different ways to use them. So, okay, we could take the laundry off the car, but let's explore a couple of examples and see if we can pull out some other interesting meanings. Okay. So
Mhm.
would you mind reading through these three examples?
Yeah. The social networking app WeChat took off really quickly and soon overtook CC
QQ.
QQ in popularity. I saw the thief running away with my keys, so I took off after him. It's getting a little late. Maybe we should take off.
I really like your pronunciation of T. You have a perfect T pronunciation. So notice when you say, and this is for anyone watching this who has struggles with the T sound, the way that Tika says instead of little, which is the technically correct pronunciation, but unfortunately, nobody says it like that, right? The way that you soften the T sound to a very light D sound, you said little, little. So it's not a hard D sound, little, but it's a light, little, little, natural sounding D. That's perfect. And then you also sometimes you're using a special type of T sound where it stops. So you could say late, but you could also say late without saying the T at all and just stop it, and that's very natural sounding too. Late, and then stop the voice. So that sounds great. Anyway, your pronunciation is really good. Um,
Thank
so let's
you.
just say there's a. Are you familiar with WeChat?
WeChat? Yes, but I don't use it.
Right. Well, I mean, it's mostly just used in China. Um, I used to live in China, so we used to use WeChat a lot. But this used to be really popular. So before it was QQ, and then it was WeChat. And maybe the same thing would be true for, I don't know, what's the most popular messaging app? WhatsApp?
WhatsApp, I guess.
Yeah. What else do people use?
Instagram?
For messaging?
Yeah, I usually message my friend on Instagram.
Oh, really? I don't like the Instagram Messenger. I don't know. It just
Oh,
doesn't seem. Uh, maybe I just don't use it enough to feel comfortable with it. But I'm not crazy about that. And I find. Have you ever used the Facebook Messenger?
yeah, I use it, but no, my friend don't use it either.
I hate Facebook. It's the worst one ever. It's so confusing. I just don't understand what's going on. Um,
Yeah.
actually, most of them are. Most of them I don't like. I like WhatsApp pretty well, and I like.
What
You ever
about
use?
Telegram?
Huh?
Telegram?
I tried Telegram before, but I didn't have any friends who were using it, so I stopped using it. But it seems okay. I like WhatsApp. I also like Signal. Signal is pretty good.
Oh, Signal, yeah.
hmm And iMessage I use because I have an iPhone, but I'm not crazy about that one either. Okay, so what does this mean here? The social networking app, whatever, took off really quickly and soon overtook QQ in popularity. So what
Take
does
a
take
position.
off mean in this case?
Take
Huh?
place.
Hmm?
Take a place. The first place.
Like replace it? Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Place it.
that's a very good guess, but while it probably did, this part means took the place actually. So if let's say that something is number 1, this thing is back here and it goes past it and becomes the new number 1. That would be overtake. We use the same word for becoming number 1, the new number 1, as we use for cars passing each other on the road. One car overtakes another car. Another car overtakes another car. Same word. But the took off one doesn't mean that it becomes number 1 exactly. It's close, but it's not quite that. Let's see. Can you think of someone or something that suddenly became very popular recently? Don't say Charlie Puth.
Something. Yeah.
Just some, maybe there's a music star who became very popular recently, fairly suddenly, pretty quickly, or maybe uh, anything that became very popular recently, just kind of suddenly became really popular, and everyone is using it or everyone is doing that.
Oh, I think BTS. Why even?
BTS, yeah, okay. Do you like
But I'm not a
BTS?
fan of them.
Oh, you're not you're not in the army.
No, I'm not.
Isn't that what their fans are called? BTS Army. I think so. Um, okay, so let's use that. Let's use that example. How would we? So this means basically took off means to grow in popularity pretty suddenly. To grow in popularity, we can imagine an airplane leaving the ground. An airplane is on the ground and then it goes like that. And it leaves the ground. It's not popular, it's not popular. And then right here, it goes up and suddenly becomes popular or well known or famous or something like that. That's how we usually use this meaning of took off. So, how would we use that to describe BTS?
Their popularity increase because of they have a lot of hit song.
Okay. Okay. How would we say that? Say exactly what you just said, except we use take off or took off instead of rapidly increased.
Mm,
BTS. Do you know any of their hit songs?
I know. I don't
Me
know.
neither. I don't either. I'm ashamed to say I can't think of any. It's so embarrassing, but I can't think of any. Wait a second. There might be one. No, I don't want to mess it up, and I don't want to be wrong about BTS. I heard that's it's not good to be wrong about BTS. But okay,
Yeah.
let's just say some popular songs. How would we phrase that so that we can describe what happened?
Uh, I'm blank.
Okay. Well, we want to use this phrase. So just like this one, WeChat took off, right? So we could say the same thing.
Over
BTS.
two.
Well, let's not use overtook. Let's just use let work because we want to learn this phrasal verb here, took off. So let's use that. But how would we then say something after it? When, maybe the reason that they became popular or when it happened?
The
How,
uh position. Position.
Why did they take off? Why did they take off? You said it before. The reason they took off was
Oh, their song. They have a lot of hit song.
okay. Okay. But how do, when a new hit song uh gets popular, we say that the song was
Uh, Booming.
well, actually booming and took off are quite similar. So if something is that's a good word to use. Um booming means something is really popular and really growing right now. So that's actually a good word. But it's similar to took off actually. In a way, it's similar to that. Maybe we could say what happened that caused them to take off, uh, starting with something like when. BTS took off when, and then we would say what event happened that caused them to suddenly become popular, which would be about their
Concert.
songs. Maybe it's a specific show that they did. It could
Yeah.
have been a specific show. If we can say what is the thing that happened that made them suddenly grow in popularity, then we could put that there. If it's a specific concert that they did in 2018, then we would put that there. We would say took off when they did their show in Seoul, whatever it is. So,
Mm,
but you said before was the popular songs, right?
yeah.
So how would we say that?
When they start, when they started to release an album,
Yep, when they released their oops,
their
I can imagine there's an
their
I there,
song.
please. Thank you. Their first maybe it was their first album. I have no idea. Or
Yeah.
we could be wrong about this. This could be very bad for us if we're wrong about this. I heard that BTS fans they'll come after you um, uh, if you get things wrong. Their first. Apologies.
I will really welcome them if they come
Yeah,
to me.
please, BTS fans, teach us, educate us. We wish to know. The
Yeah.
no harm is meant with incorrect information here. Then they released their first album, and then we would say maybe their first album, and then say the name, blah blah blah, uh,
Yeah.
in 2000 and whatever. The lack of knowledge here. We should probably use things we know, but that's the idea, right? That's the
Yeah.
idea. This is they took off when, or they took off. Maybe we could say in this year. Um, it's basically just marking this moment here where the airplane leaves the ground, where the airplane goes up from the ground. We can imagine instead of it being an airplane, because we use takeoff for an airplane, right? Instead of an airplane, we could say it's a band, or it's a singer, or it's an app, or it's a service, or it's a fashion, style of fashion, or whatever. Okay. Is that one pretty clear?
Yeah, I
Any
think,
questions
but
about
if
this
you
one?
ask me to explain it,
I think you can.
I'm sorry, I couldn't speak.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. Okay, but I think this one is. I mean, this one is a little bit similar, but uh, unique enough. Do you know what a thief is?
It's like a burglar.
Yeah, yeah, somebody who steals something. And probably a burglar would be for. Usually, burglar is used for going into a home or a jewelry store or something like that. You go into a place and steal stuff. Um, thief could be used is more general, it's more broad. Sometimes if it's in person on the street and someone takes your stuff from you, then you've been mugged. So sometimes mugger, but we'll just use thief. Okay. I saw the thief running away with my keys, so I took off after him. What do you think that means?
Catch him?
Well, did I catch him though? Have I caught him yet?
No, you
Not
are
yet.
just
Maybe the next
you ran up.
sentence will be me catching him.
You try to catch him maybe.
Yeah, if I try to catch him, what do I need to do in order to catch him?
Uh, to take him.
Well, how if I see a thief going down the street really fast, I I want to catch that thief. What do I have to do?
Mm, try to. Uh,
I mean, if I have
I don't know.
superpowers, I can just stop him. But,
Try to stop him.
but do by doing what?
Mm,
He goes
run.
this way. Yeah, probably run. Maybe I have a motorcycle or something fast, right?
Yeah.
So actually this one specifically might be running, or actually in this case, ran would be past tense, right? But it doesn't have to be running. It
Ask for
just
help.
well, in this case, took off is about movement quickly, but it's about suddenly going from not moving. So here I'm not moving to suddenly moving forward in this direction. But it doesn't have to be running. I could be in a car. I could be in a on a motorcycle. I could be anything that can go quickly, basically, and can go from not moving to moving again. Take off. So, and it doesn't have to be going after someone either. It could be for any reason, right? And actually,
Yeah.
this could be used to talk about things going up into the air too. Sometimes we use this for birds, for example. We can use it for airplanes too. It's the same idea of it's not moving and then it goes like that. And it could go up too. So I'll give you another example and then maybe you can try to give me an example. Um, so recently I had to plant grass in my yard because I had some work done. And I don't know, have you ever seen grass seeds? They're very
Let's
small,
see.
tiny, very
Oh,
small. So
maybe yeah.
for some reason, birds like to eat those. They like to eat the grass seeds.
Yeah.
So there are always about 10 birds out in my backyard eating the grass seeds. But I don't want them to eat the grass seeds because I want the grass to grow. So sometimes I see them out there and I just get angry and I open the door and I go outside and I just start screaming and waving my arms like this. And the birds immediately take off. That means they just fly away very quickly. But 10 minutes later, they're back. So I've given up. So that means they just go away quickly, fly away. So that's what takeoff means there. So it could be fly away or run quickly or start running or start going or start driving. Okay.
Okay.
So can you think of something that maybe would move quickly or reason you would move quickly where we could use take off?
Mm, maybe uh, a street vendor.
A what?
A street vendor, street food seller.
Street vendor? Oh, you mean that they're selling something they shouldn't sell? They're doing something bad?
Yeah, maybe
Why
something
would
like
Yeah.
something. I don't know how to explain it.
Please. I think I know where you're going. So I want to hear what you have to say.
Maybe just for example, maybe drugs.
Ah. Okay. So wait. So the street vendor is on the street saying drugs, drugs. Who wants drugs? I got all the drugs here. That's a very brave street vendor. Um, Usually, if I'm walking on the street somewhere, the people selling drugs they'll walk up to you quietly and whisper, "Do you want to buy some drugs?" Like that.
Can we change the example?
No, no, I like it. Let me. It's funny. It's a good one. So let's say there's a street vendor on the street selling. Well, actually, let me ask you this: where you live, is it legal for street vendors to sell regular stuff like clothes, food? Are they allowed to do that?
No, they are not allowed, and they're mostly hiding.
Okay, so but they're there though. They still do it.
Yeah, maybe because I've never heard about that.
But what if? Okay, so let's say there's a street vendor not selling drugs, just selling some jewelry on the street.
Yeah.
It happens in New York too. What if they see the police coming?
Uh, a thief, like the example.
What? So okay, there's a street vendor on the street selling jewelry. They're not
Hmm.
supposed to be there. It's illegal because the street vendors are not allowed. They don't have a maybe they don't have a business license or something. And but then the police arrive. What will the street vendor do? Perhaps
Running immediately.
they will run immediately. Probably, yeah, yeah. Have you ever seen that happen before?
No, because they have their show.
Oh, okay, so they're there. They're legal. They're selling legally. They're selling
Yeah,
stuff.
there are many here, a lot.
Yeah, that same here in New York. Some people will sell stuff legally, and some people will sell stuff illegally. The illegal ones, they don't have a business license. They're not supposed to be there. The legal ones, they have a shop, like you said. Let's say, for example, this a person selling something illegally on the street, and they see the police. How can we say that?
Uh,
Using take off. I would say
okay.
maybe, yeah.
There is a jewelry seller
Mhm.
that there is a jewelry seller who sell illegal things
Yep. Okay. On the street. Yeah.
on the street, and the police took off after him, took off him.
Well, they might have, but first that he did. So
He
he's
did.
selling jewelry. He knows he shouldn't be doing that there, and he sees the police.
Yeah,
Then we would say
he took off
he took off
when the police came.
when the police came or when he saw the police. He took off when he saw the police. Or as you said, he took off when the police arrived on the street. When we could say when the police when the police arrived. That would be perfect. So we can that's a very visual thing. We can see that happening. We can oh wow. And then you start running. You're scared of the police. So that would be a good way to describe suddenly running. I think it's a very creative way of doing it. I like that better than saying running or suddenly running. It's not super interesting. Okay, so I think the last example we can look at for today for our class is this last one here. It's getting a little late. Maybe we should take off. It's getting a little late. Maybe we should take off. So,
Shoot and
hmm?
finish to finish it.
It could be okay. So that if we're if It depends on what we're doing. If we're at a place and we want to finish being at this place, let's say we're at a party or something, then this take off would be sort of like finish being here. So that's similar to leave. And this
Mm.
is kind of casual. This is not very formal. This is more casual English to take off. So often we say, I'm going to take off, or let's take off, let's leave. And then we'll say the reason for something. Like, I think I'm going to take off. I have to get up early tomorrow morning for work. Something like that. We'll say the reason. And it's a casual, informal feeling of, I have to go. I'm going to go now, basically.
Okay.
So I think it's pretty late where you are, right?
Yeah.
Getting a little late. So this will be our last example. But let's say, for example, we're doing the class and you need to stop because it's late. So how would you use take off to say that?
Oh, maybe it's like maybe we should finish the lesson because no, 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 no. Maybe we should take off the lesson because tomorrow, because I need to wake up early tomorrow.
Okay. Now, for that one, if it's we, because it's a little complicated, we're in two different places. Actually, if we're together and we're both going to leave, then you're absolutely correct. We would say let's take off. Let's leave another place. But because we're in two different places, you might say that you need to leave, and then because then you would use the same reason. So maybe you could say I should take off because it's getting a little late and I need to wake up early tomorrow. Now, notice I didn't say take off the lesson. So here would just use take off. And sometimes people will just say let's take off. Let's take off. Just means let's leave. Let's go. Let's go. We don't have to add the thing actually after it. So that would be a simple casual. You wouldn't use it in a formal situation. Casual way to say that. Okay?
Yeah.
Any questions about this, Tika?
I think take off, take off. I think it's clear for me.
Well, if you want to, and what I would recommend would be I will text you all the examples we talked about, and you could look
Yeah.
at them some more and think about them. And I would love if you could make your own examples for each meaning that we talked about today, both for come across and for take off. And then you could
Yeah.
send them to me on WhatsApp. That's fine, and I can check them for you. Would that be okay?
Okay. Yeah. Sure. I will do it.
I would love to do that for you. And if you have any questions, if anything's not clear, just send me a message, and I can maybe give you another example or explain it a little bit more. Okay?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think I will ask you one on one because
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you can just send me a message one on one, and I
yeah,
can I can answer that for you. Okay?
yeah, thank you.
Thank you for doing this, Tika. I hope we can do
Yeah,
another one in the future. I appreciate
I,
you
I
being
hope
here.
so. I hope I hope when you do this, there will be many people who will join this
Oh,
because this is so
you would like to do a group lesson with more people?
yeah like a real class that would be interesting, I guess.
I think you know what? I think maybe trying that next would be good. I wanted to try just doing a one-on-one lesson just to see how it go. I prefer that style, honestly. I think it's a little bit more focused, but I
Yeah,
think it would be interesting to try a group class as well. So maybe we'll get a group of people together to do another lesson soon.
yeah.
Yeah, but thanks,
I'll
thanks,
look forward. I'll look. I look forward to seeing that.
or joining it.
Oh yeah, enjoying it.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Tika. Again, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and we'll talk. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good night as well.
Good night.
See ya.
See you.
All right. Well, that was interesting. Tika's a very good learner, uh, and I appreciate the. Um, not everyone has the courage to do a class like that, and try their best. I think it's awesome. That sort of mindset and way of thinking about things is great. And Tika gave some good examples, and it's an experimental thing. But if yeah, guys, let me know what you think about the structure and format. I'm thinking about doing, as Tika suggested, a group style class like that. But so going to have a maybe 4 people together. Could be interesting as well. All right. Well, let's see if there are any questions about the specific lesson that we did today that I could answer as a kind of follow up. Ronaldo recommends listening to heavy metal. Not really my taste, Ronaldo, but to each their own, I would say. What's the difference between take over and overtake? That's a good question, actually. We were talking about the phrase take off, but then in that example, that specific example, we used overtake, meaning to pass something, and we use that for cars. We use that for traffic related situations, but also when something becomes the new number one, right? So what's the difference then between take over and overtake? And they're not the same. So if you say to overtake, you're passing, you're moving ahead, the third spot is going to the second spot. Maybe there's rankings. You're ranked number 3, and then you do something good, and now you're ranked number 2. You overtook the number 2 spot. To take over is to sort of claim territory. So one nation might take over another nation. They conquer them. They become the new. Well, they expand their territory, right? That would be fine. But it can be used in more casual situations too. We might say, for example, I can take over. You look tired. If someone is working hard on something, maybe let's just say they're baking something, right? A lot of stirring and mixing and blending, and they look exhausted. Oh, you look exhausted. Let me take over for you. Now that phrase for you is important to add after that. I'll take over for you. I will do that thing in your place and you can go rest, right? Could you take over for me for a while? I'm really sleepy, right? So that's actually probably the most common use of take over. So there's the connotation of it just being me doing that in your place to help you, but also the connotation of me doing that in your place to push you out and be the one to do it, and you can't do it anymore. Or I can tell you when to do it or not do it, right? So one business might take over another business in a way of like they acquire them, so they take over their operations, and that might be to kind of push them out of being in charge, and now this other business is in charge. So that would be a way to do it too. It can have both connotations. Hopefully that answers your question, Abdo. If not, let me know. Excuse me. How spelling Luke look lucky. You're so happy for learning English. What's the difference between different and difference? Is that a joke? Well, different is an adjective and difference is a noun, and that's the difference. The difference is a thing. It is a thing. The difference. Different is to describe two things. These are different. Can I have a different one? That's an adjective about a thing, right? We need a different plan. This plan is not good. We need a different one. The noun is plan. So we're talking about the noun plan. Well, which plan? A different one. Adjective. Okay? But if we're looking at two things, two exactly the same model of, for example, phone, right? Exactly the same model. I can't see a difference. Oh, wait. There's a little scratch on this one. That's the difference. What's the difference? So when you're talking about differences, you're talking about things that are different. They are things. The differences. The scratch is a difference. The different feature, the feature itself that's not the same as this one, is a difference. So we could say they're different models. They're different models. And the differences are this one has a better camera than this one. This one has a faster processor than this one. Those are the differences. We're describing the things. So it's an interesting question, actually. For a second there, I did think you were joking, but it's good to know that you're not joking. That's wonderful. All right. Long time no see, says Muxi. Yes, indeed, long time no see. If anyone is interested in joining a class similar to what we just did, be sort of live like that, but also maybe a group setting, let me know. I'm just experimenting with different class formats, and I think it's fun. So why not? Let me know if you're interested in joining in the chat or comments, or if you want, you can submit. I actually made a form. Let me see if I can pop this into the chat. Where is it? Where is that form? No, I can't find it. Where did I put that? Yeah, sure thing, Moxie. No problem. Happy to help. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Well, I wanted to just mention something quickly. So I know I've probably talked about this a million times, but excuse me. I should probably get some water as well. I recently launched a new website, which you're welcome to check out. This is the site. You can click on the link in the description if you're interested in checking that out. It includes all of my courses, right? Now you can, if you want to individually sign up for these courses, if you like, you can do that, of course. You can click on these. Okay, I want to learn about emails. You're welcome to sign up individually for these courses. That's totally fine. You can see the content of the courses here. It's quite long. This course, for example, this email course is over 12 hours of content. So most of the courses are quite long. Some of them are 3 hours, some 7, some 12, some 15, some even longer. However, probably the better deal, to be honest with you, would be a yearly membership. So if you sign up yearly, you get access to all of the courses, every single course. So in a year, you could take them or you can renew, and there will be more courses in the future. Why would you Why would you do that? Well, it's more intensive, right? Those are well-structured courses. It's not a casual live stream. It's not a casual video. It's a rigorous, well-structured, well-planned course on a specific topic. So it's much more focused than something like a YouTube video. That's the reason that I take courses personally. That structure and the planning and a lot of resources go into making a good course. I might spend 6 months making just one course. Also, there's a WhatsApp group that you can join. We can join one of the WhatsApp groups if you become a yearly member. And also, there's a 20-minute one-to-one level assessment. So I will talk with you and give you a general level check and tell you which courses you should take first based on your goals. And as you go through the courses, if you're on this plan, if you're on the yearly plan, you can also chat with me anytime you need help. You don't understand something, you have an example you want me to look at, all of that stuff. I'm there for you. So it's kind of a collaborative thing, and people who are doing the yearly plan regularly use that, and that's a big advantage of doing that plan. So check that out if you like. That's in the link in the description. Of course, you can also do the courses individually, but that would be my recommendation. All right. I have a couple questions here. Moxie has a suggestion. Can you please cover in your live classes a specific topic? Each one example: weather, clothes, restaurants. I could do that. Specific topics on one thing. I feel like so many teachers do that. I don't know. Maybe I'll try that in the future. I'm not sure. It feels a little. It feels a little tired as it's such an easy thing to just choose a topic and then do things around that topic. It's so easy. I like to challenge myself, and I know that there are so many other teachers kind of doing those basic topics. I don't know. My courses cover more in-depth topics. Some of them focus on pronunciation. Some of them are focused on writing emails. Some are customer service English, business English. I have courses on grammar specifically. I recently launched a course on English sentence patterns. So a lot of different topics for sure. All right. Now, one thing I want to do is I want to check out. We were talking about IELTS earlier, and I want to check out some IELTS questions. Talk a little bit about IELTS. Go from there. So maybe you're preparing for the IELTS exam. The key is to not just practice in general or learn grammar in general. Those are great things to do, of course, but to make yourself comfortable with the format of the exam itself. That's really, really important. Why? Because half of the battle in an exam like the IELTS or the TOEFL or whatever test you might be taking, TOEIC, is knowing the format and feeling really comfortable and confident in the format, right? That's very, very important. Well, that's the reason that IELTS provides a lot of material. The actual company IELTS, the website, provides a lot of material to help you get used to that. So if you're not using those resources, you're probably not really preparing for the IELTS exam or whatever exam you happen to be taking. So let's take a look at what IELTS provides to help you prepare to take the IELTS exam. I think they want people to do well. So they provide these resources as a way to help that, right? So let's hop over to their website specifically. Now on the IELTS website, it looks like you can sign up for a test. You can book a test. Let me do that. Book a test. IELTS for UKVI and life skills. And then, I guess, international language test. Okay, I think the one on the left is the regular one, I believe. Okay, but let's go back here. Let's go to sample test questions, and then you can go through the different sections. Academic reading, academic writing, general writing training, general training writing, speaking, listening. And you can actually look at samples to understand how it works. So let's listen to listening sample task. Let's listen to one of these and see if we can understand how the listening section works. Okay, here we go.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and an agent at a company which ships large boxes overseas.
Good morning. Packham's shipping agents. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. I'm ringing to make inquiries about sending a large box, a container, back home to Kenya from the UK.
Yes, of course. Would you like me to try and find some quotations for you?
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I need a few details from you.
Fine.
Can I take your name?
It's Jacob Mkere.
Can you spell your surname, please?
Yes, it's Mkere.
Is that M for mother?
Yes.
Thank you. And you say that you will be sending the box to Kenya?
That's right.
And where would you like the box picked up from?
From college, if possible.
Yes, of course. I'll take down the address now.
It's Westall College.
Is that Westall?
Yes, college.
Westall College. And where's that?
It's Downlands Road in Bristol.
Oh, yes, I know it. And the postcode?
It's BS8 9PU.
Right. And I need to know the size.
Yes, I've measured it carefully and it's 1.5 metres long.
Right.
0.75 metres wide.
0.75.
Okay.
And it's 0.5 metres high or deep.
Great.
0.5.
So I'll calculate the volume in a moment and get some quotes for that.
Not
but first,
zero.
Can you tell me,
British English.
very generally, what will be in the box?
Yes, there's mostly clothes.
Okay.
And there's some books.
Books.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Yes, there's also some toys.
Toys.
Okay, and what is the total value, do you think, of the contents?
Well, the main costs are the clothes and the books. They'll be about £1,500. But then the toys are about another 200. So I'd put down £1,700.
Okay. So I guess they want to confuse you there with maybe which value to put down. Is it 1,005, 1,000, or 2, or 1,007? So it's the total estimated value. I don't know how you feel about that going through it, but if you have that worksheet, that's I think fairly easy. But really, it's just getting used to hearing it and grabbing details as you hear it. So you would write down things that you're hearing as you go. Interesting. I want to look at let's see. I want to look at speaking here. Moxie says, that's British English, right? That is correct. That is British English. Do you know Bob the Canadian? I've heard Bob the Canadian because people mention Bob the Canadian a lot in the comments in the chat for whatever reason. I assume his name is Bob and that he's a Canadian. That'd be funny if it wasn't the case, though. That'd be great. That's a genius idea. Maybe I should be Luke the Canadian. How do you get the courses? Yes. So you just, you go to the website here, and you scroll down and you click on sign up now. There you go. That's it. Go to the website, click sign up now, and sign up now for the yearly plan. That's how to get the courses. Then you can get access to all the courses, which is over 60 hours of courses, very in depth, and it takes me maybe 6 months to make one course. Really in depth planning that I do for every single course. Are you watching your course? No, I'm on the IELTS website. We're looking at the IELTS here. This is the IELTS website. This is not my course. I'm just curious. I'm just exploring I want to know what IELTS provides to people to help them prepare for the format and the structure of the IELTS exam. And they tell you exactly how different parts work, and they give you examples. Let's look at the speaking one here. In the speaking test, you have a discussion with a certified examiner. It is an interactive and as close to real-life situation as a test can get. I agree with that. There are 3 parts to the test, and each part fulfills a specific function in terms of interaction pattern, task input, and test taker output. See, they've chosen to not use the Oxford comma. Interesting choice. In part 1, you answer questions about yourself and your family. In part 2, you speak about a topic. In part 3, you have a longer discussion on the topic. The speaking test is the same for both academic and general training versions. They have different versions of the IELTS test. Each of the 3 parts is designed to test a different aspect of your communication ability. Okay, so let's look at a prompt for part 1 and a recording for part 1 and a part 2 prompt and a recording for part 2. Let's just see what they've got here. So the prompt is, way zoomed out here. Okay, part 1. This part of the test begins with the examiner introducing himself or herself and checking the candidate's identification. It then continues as an interview. Let's talk about your hometown or village. What kind of place is it? What's the most interesting part of your town or village? What kind of jobs do the people in your town or village do? Would you say it's a good place to live? Why? Or they might talk about accommodation. Tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in. How long have you lived there? What do you like about living there? What sort of accommodation would you most like to live in? And so these are pretty simple initial questions for the IELTS part 1 of the speaking test. Let's listen to a little bit of a sample answer.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and an agent at a company.
Oh, whoa. That's not right. I think we want this one.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some more questions about yourself. Okay? Let's talk about your hometown or village. What kind of place is it?
It's quite a small village, about 20 kilometers from Zurich.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very quiet, and we have only 2 little shops, because most of the people work in Zurich or are orientated to the city.
What's the most interesting part of this place, the village?
On the top of a hill we have a little castle, which is very old, and quite well known in Switzerland.
What kind of jobs do people in the village do?
We have some farmers in the village, as well as people who work in Zurich as bankers or journalists, or there are also teachers
Pretty good answer. This is
and
good. Pretty
some
natural.
doctors, or some medicines.
Right.
I'm curious.
Would you
what
say it's
score
a
they
good
do.
place to live?
Yes, although it is very quiet, people are friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say it's a good place to live there, yes.
Let's move on to talk about accommodation. Tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in.
Okay, so then they talk about accommodation or where you live. Interesting. Now, task 2, or part 2 rather, is the sort of famously more difficult part. And I've often heard that it's it's much more important than part 1 in evaluating your speaking ability. So let's see. Part 2. Individual long turn. Describe something you own, which is very important to you. You should say where you got it from, how long you've had it, what you use it for, and explain why it's important to you. You'll have to talk about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes to help if you wish. Now, I think what they're looking for here for a good score is, did you include everything? Are you able to link the ideas together in a natural way, to put all of that information that they're asking for together in a coherent, clear sort of question, or rather response? And then they're going to evaluate then your use of phrases, natural phrases, and pronunciation, all of that as you're speaking. Okay, so this is one of the maybe the most important question of the speaking part.
All right.
I asked my friend Francis about that.
Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. One of the most important things I have is my piano, because I like playing the piano. I got it from my parents to my 12th birthday, so I have it for about 9 years. And the reason why it is so important for me is that I can go into another world when I'm playing piano. I can forget what's around me and I can forget my problems, and this is sometimes quite good for a few minutes, or I can play to relax, or just to relax and to
Repeating a little bit.
think of something completely different.
All of the things mentioned?
Thank you. Would it be easy to replace this piano?
I guess all of those are answered. Where you got it from, how long you've had it, what you use it for.
Yes, I think
There
wouldn't
could have
be
been more of a story
that
there to
a big problem,
detail, probably.
but I like my piano as it is, because I have it from my parents. It's some kind unique for me.
All right.
So there they might be looking for using more advanced vocabulary to say something like, I've had this piano since my parents gave it to me, and I would never replace it because it has real sentimental value to me. It means more to me because of how it was given to me, and when I play it, I reminisce about all of the happy times I had in my childhood with my parents. It's maybe a symbol to me of how joyful and happy my childhood was. I don't know, something like that. So you might look for more advanced phrasing or vocabulary that might increase the score a little bit. You might get closer to a 9. If you repeat yourself a lot and use only simple vocabulary, it's not that that's wrong, but you might get a lower score because they're looking for your ability to use language well to tell a story, and use some slightly more advanced vocabulary. Interesting. Okay. You have a lot of subscribers. Do you make money on YouTube? I do make money on YouTube, yeah. Please, teacher, if you could, please give a model answer for more common questions in IELTS Task 1 and 2 speaking. Okay, so for that question, what I would do, I recommend using the outline for part 2. So let me open part 2 here again, and we'll look at it and see how I would answer it, or how I would approach answering it, right? So the question again is, describe something you own which is very important to you. The first thing you have to do is you have to decide what you're going to talk about. If you don't decide that within your minute to prepare, then you're going to feel lost and you're not going to know what you're talking about. So first, say what it is. If you ever get a question that says, what is your favorite blah, 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 or what is the most, if they said, what is the most important thing to you? Don't actually try to think about the most important thing. Just pick anything that is important, because they're not checking whether it actually is the most. They have no way to measure mostness, right? They're only concerned about how well you express yourself, okay? So if you pick your piano, or if you pick your car, or if you pick your camera, whatever it is, doesn't matter as long as you're able to explain and justify it, okay? So something you own which is very important to you. I'm going to pick my house. Okay, my first thing, my house. Okay, where you got it from. Now, that's where did I get it from is more like the backstory of it, right? How long have you had it? And then what you use it for. So my answer is going to be answer those questions, but it's not going to answer them really simply. If I choose an object like a camera that was given to me as a gift, then I'm going to use this a little more specifically as an outline. Where I got it from. Got it from my wife as a birthday gift in 2015. How long you've had it? 2015, so I've had it for about 7 years. What you use it for? I use it to take pictures. But again, that's a little too simple. If you just say those things, that's not going to be a good answer. You really have to imagine you're a storyteller, and then make sure as you're telling your story that these details get kind of included, okay? So, last year, my wife and I decided that it was time to leave New York City, and we thought the best way to do that would be to go to the countryside and build a house. So, that's what we did. We found an area that we really liked, and we started the process of building a house. And it was a really exhausting process, but that made it more meaningful. We got to make a lot of the choices, and we got to choose the paint and the decorations. We got to design a lot of it and make individual purchases, which made the house then more unique and more special to us. We've only been living there for a few months, but it already feels like a sanctuary for our family. It already feels like a special place to hide away from the rest of the world. So we spend a lot of our time there. We like to go outside and walk around. We like to watch TV. We like to hang out in the living room. We like to cook together. It's really a home base, and that's what makes my home truly special to me. So that would be my answer to this question. I did hit these points, right? But in a way that was folded into the story. And I tried to use a few words like sanctuary to try to show that I'm able to use higher level vocabulary and phrases, although there's no rule about which one you have to use, right? If that makes sense. I could do another answer that was a little simpler about the camera, but I think that's probably enough. I don't know. I might not even get a 9 on that one. Maybe an 8. What's the best way to learn phrasal verbs? That's a good question. Amar says, I think I'll take the test out of curiosity. I recommend that. I think that's a good idea. The more tests you take, the more you kind of push yourself. You know you have that IELTS exam coming up in the future, and you know you have to get ready, and the feeling of pressure to push you to get ready and prepare is going to, in general, help you improve your English. So I would strongly recommend, just out of curiosity, pure curiosity, taking the test. Even if you don't have to take it, why not take it? It's gonna help you for sure. What's the best way to learn phrasal verbs? So, and we've been talking about phrasal verbs. If you want to learn a phrasal verb, the key thing is to make sure that you know the different meanings, because phrasal verbs, we did a class about this earlier, phrasal verbs have different meanings, and the meanings are not necessarily connected in any way. So you need to find a way to look them up so that you can see the meaning very clearly, right, of each one. And to see and understand the meaning very clearly, you need examples. A good one would be thefreedictionary.com. That's my personal favorite. But you might find phrasal verb books that have examples. The key thing is to make sure that it has the real examples and it has the examples of the different meanings. Then you make your own examples based on that. That's the really, really important thing, to actively learn. If it's all input, you're never going to be able to use the phrasal verb that you learned when you're speaking. It's all input. So how can you use it? You have to practice output. Whenever you learn anything, input, output, input, output. That's the process, not just input. We know that for things like learning tennis, we know that we need to do something in order to get good. But for whatever reason, often when we're learning English, suddenly we forget that output is important, and we just say, oh, study, and memorize. No. That is your input. What's your output? Your output is just as important, if not more important. So for output, practice examples. Write. Try speaking, making a couple of sentences or describing something, or give yourself a little prompt and make sure you include somewhere the phrasal verbs or the phrases that you're learning. In the answer, record yourself. Did you use it naturally? Was it difficult for you to use? Did you forget some of the meanings when you were speaking? All of this is a very, very important part of the learning process. And if you're not doing it, when you're in a conversation, how can you expect yourself to use it naturally? So just make sure you have both input and output, and then you should be fine. By the way, if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. That would be great. Much appreciated. And you can check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. Paulson's here. Practice makes perfect. Couldn't agree with that anymore. Why don't we check out a couple of questions from... One thing I like to do is I like to scroll through the subreddit called English Learning. I like to check out a few of the questions there. So why don't we do that? Of course, we got some ads. That's classic. This is Reddit English Learning. There's always some good questions. Always some good questions coming from here, and I want to check them out. Well, this is a multiple choice one. I'm going to pass on those, though. What does it mean for a person to say a person is methodical? while ago, I was watching a YouTube video and someone said the phrase, "This guy is effing methodical," with a tone like they were impressed but critical. I wish I could find the video again, but the context was politics, and the methodical person was a politician. The regular definition means orderly, systematic, but the context makes me think it has another meaning or connotation. This is a great question. Someone has answered here, they carefully do a task, paying strict attention to every detail so that it's all correct. Now that's a fine answer, and that's correct, but this person is really not asking about what it means because they're perfectly capable of looking it up in a dictionary. This person is trying to understand the connotation and could it ever be negative, right? And that's very subjective, but I would say most adjectives can have a negative connotation. Let's say the word perfect. She's perfect. Okay, now, perfect could be a good thing, but I would say even more often when you're describing a person and saying perfect, you're really complaining that this person is almost too good. They have no flaws that anyone on the outside can see. And so I'm criticizing the fact that maybe they're hiding their negative attributes or characteristics and trying to present an image that's flawless to everyone else. And I know that there's more going on. So maybe I'm criticizing this person who's perfect for being fake in a way, right? That could be a connotation of perfect. So I would say most adjectives that you can use about people can have a negative connotation if that's how you mean it in the situation. Now, what about methodical? If someone is very careful and systematic, as the definition says, can that ever be meant in a negative way? Absolutely. Have you ever been around someone who's so detail-oriented, this must be done, and then this has to be done, and then this has to be done, that it's annoying or it bothers you, right? This person has a kind of OCD, where this actually a mental disease that they have, and it's a problem. You could mean it that way. Now, of course, being systematic, we could say is organized. You're very well organized. That's great. That could be a positive characteristic, a positive attribute, 100%. But it could be negative if we want to say that this person is annoying because they can't be flexible, or if we want to say that maybe this person is so detail-oriented and focused on the details that they don't know the big picture of what they're doing. So their detail-oriented systematic style is preventing them from getting anything real done because they can't see the big picture. I mean, if this is politics related and this is about a politician, do you want a politician to be very head down, focusing on the details? Well, I hope not. That's hopefully how their secretary should be, or their assistants should be, right? They should be reading every detail of the laws and understanding everything. Hopefully the politician understands the impact of what they're doing and is a good communicator and can think with a big picture sort of attitude. That would be probably better than just being very, very methodical. So I can absolutely see how, in this case, for a politician, and I haven't seen the video, it would be negative because this person thinks perhaps that this politician has their head in the sand and can't see what they should be doing, can't see the real impact of their actions because they're too detail focused, because they're too systematic. So hopefully that answers this person's question. Again, I think almost every adjective, at least the ones I can think of right now, can be used in a negative way. So it's really your intention and it's the context of the situation and how you mean it. So, yeah, that's a good question. Josine says, is that how you say your name? Josane, could you please speak a little bit more about confidence? I mean, speaking with confidence, thanks in advance. Okay. Josane says, yes, could you please speak about confidence? I mean, speaking with confidence, thanks in advance. When you're speaking in a second language, it's easy to not feel confident because you feel that everyone is judging you all the time, right? Criticizing you. You may have watched earlier, I did the lesson with Tika. And nothing is perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? But I hope if anyone noticed something that wasn't perfect in what Tika said, I hope you noticed that I don't care if it's not perfect, right? I'm an English teacher, so if anyone was going to care, it would be me. If anyone was going to be critical and be judgmental of someone, it would be me, right? But I hope if you watched that, you saw that I actually don't care if something is incorrect or not perfect. It doesn't bother me at all. Mistakes are a great way to bring out a new idea, to bring out something that you can learn from, right? So that's great. And I would say that most people do not care. So that's the first thing to realize. If you feel like you're being judged or people are criticizing you, 99.9% of the time, that's not true. Nobody cares if you pronounce something incorrectly. I certainly don't. Nobody cares if you make the wrong sentence or you misunderstood something that they said or I said. Doesn't matter, right? I will happily repeat myself. Doesn't matter. I'll repeat myself 10 times if you didn't understand. That's my fault for not communicating clearly if you didn't understand. Not your fault, right? So I might feel bad if you didn't understand me. You shouldn't feel bad. Why should you feel bad? I'm communicating to you. I'm speaking my first language. I should be very clear, right? I should make sure you understand. So it's on me, not on you. And then when you're speaking, you say a word wrong. I understood the word that you said, so why does it have to sound perfect? Why does it need to sound like anything? Who cares, right? So that's the first thing. Second, once you realize that, hopefully it gives you a feeling of, oh, okay, nobody cares, so I can just play around? Yes, exactly. If you see using language more as play, you're more playful with your attitude toward using English, then you can relax and just start doing that. Having conversations whenever you have the chance, right? Interacting whenever you have the chance. Asking questions. Often if there's a class of 30 students, right, a group class, only 3 of those 30 are going to be taking full advantage, asking questions, thinking, giving examples, trying stuff out, because they realize this. And the remaining students are just sitting back because they're afraid to speak, because they're nervous or they're shy or they're worried about being judged. Again, those 3 are getting all of the benefits of that class, and the rest are kind of maybe learning a few things because they're just sitting back and listening. So try to be one of those 3 instead. After you realize that it's okay if you're wrong, try stuff as often as you can. Ask questions as often as you can. Have as many conversations as you can. I messaged in the WhatsApp, one of the WhatsApp groups that we have, would anyone like to do a live class with me? I mean, that's something that I could easily understand someone feeling nervous about, right? Yeah. I have to speak my second language in front of other people live. It's a little scary. But Tika immediately said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Fine. That's great. That attitude, that way of not being nervous or afraid to try something new, challenge yourself. I admire her for that. So that's the attitude I think everyone should have. Develop an attitude of not worrying if you're wrong, still try to correct yourself, and then do as much as you can. Try as much as you can. And the more you do it, you'll find you gain this feeling of comfort. As you do things, you get better at it, right? You start to feel more comfortable. you start to feel relaxed. The more relaxed you feel, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you can use. The more you can use, the more you do use the language. And it starts to become this beautiful, virtuous loop of improvement. So that's, I would recommend what to do with confidence. But the first thing to do is don't care too much. Don't stress out about judgment. That's the first step. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question, Josane, if that's how you say your name. I apologize if that's not quite right. Okay. Let's see. Pretty soon I need to go and I have an appointment for my car brakes, and I need to get them. I need to get brake pads on my car, new brake pads. So I have to go pretty soon. Yeah, sure, Josane. I did want to watch one more thing because I did see a few comments, not in this stream, but people asking about what the heck is going on with the Supreme Court, just to know how it works. If you have been reading the news in the United States about all of these laws changing, about if you've seen Roe versus Wade or something with guns or blah, 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 a lot of stuff going on has to do with the Supreme Court. Well, I thought we could just look at one video to see, so you could learn a little bit about how the Supreme Court works. I could explain it, but I think it's better if we just watch a video and maybe talk about it a bit, and I can answer any questions. So let's just watch a quick 2-minute video about how the Supreme Court works, and you'll know then what's going on, at least a little bit what's going on right now in the United States, for those of you who are curious.
Court, founded in 1789, is the judicial branch of the U.S. The Supreme Court, founded in 1789, is the judicial branch of the US government. That means it's the highest court in the US, and its main role is to be a sort of guardian of the Constitution.
Guardian of the Constitution. Constitution is the basic set of laws in the United States established at the founding of the country. There have been more laws added to it over time, but it is the sort of primary document of the United States government. If you caught that, there are 3 branches. Executive, that's the president, vice president, and the cabinet. Legislative, that's Congress and the House of Representatives, the Senate, they make the laws. And then the Supreme Court, the top court, and they protect the Constitution. So they read the Constitution, they get cases, and they read the Constitution and make judgments.
It hears appeal cases that relate to the Constitution and has powers to prevent or strike down laws that are unconstitutional. To give you a sense of just how important it is, it often can decide on matters of policy that affect daily life for millions of Americans. For example, in 1973, a woman was banned from having an abortion in Texas.
This is the famous Roe versus Wade case. 1973, someone got banned in Texas for getting an abortion. And this was then went through a bunch of courts and then went up to the Supreme Court. They made the decision. That's why you hear Roe versus Wade. You always hear Supreme Court cases. Usually it's something versus something. And then once they make their ruling, that's the new kind of law of the land. And recently, that has been overturned, Roe versus Wade.
But the Supreme Court ruled that the constitutional right to privacy extended to this issue. And that's why women in the US are allowed to have abortions today. More recently, in 2015, the Supreme Court made same-sex marriage legal. No longer may this liberty be denied, Justice Anthony M. Kennedy wrote about the decision. The decisions are generally made by 9 justices, who are appointed by the president whenever there is a...
So the president is the one who will appoint the justice. There are 9 of them, so 9 people, that's a lot of power for 9 people. Sometimes it goes down to 8 if one dies or leaves or retires, and then they appoint a new one. But the justice does have to be approved by Congress or the House, Senate or House of Reps, I forget.
This has led to the accusation that they are essentially politicians in fine robes, since they tend to vote broadly in accordance with party lines. This means it'll often come down to a...
Yeah, that's the criticism, is they're supposed to be just reading the Constitution and saying, okay, this agrees with it, this doesn't agree with it. But usually it's more like they make decisions based on what party they're in.
Tight 5-4 split. One of the most controversial Supreme Court decisions was during the 2000 presidential elections, where it all came down to the state of Florida. George W. Bush was leading by less than 600 votes, and the Supreme Court of Florida wanted a manual recount. But the US Supreme Court overruled and voted 5-4 against it, stating it was unconstitutional. And that's what got George W. Bush the presidency. So it is pretty influential, in theory. But in February 2016, one of the conservative judges, Antonin Scalia, died, leaving the court at a 4-4 stalemate. President Barack Obama nominated Judge Merrick Garland in March, but the Senate, currently Republican-controlled, blocked his appointment. Majority Leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, said, "This vacancy should not be filled until we have a new president." With Donald Trump's historic win, the future of the Supreme Court is in his hands.
Okay, this is 2017. All right, so that's just a basic overview of how the Supreme Court works. So when you see on the news Roe versus Wade, you know that this is something that is going on with the court, and that was overturned by the Supreme Court, and the decision was first made in 1973. So now it went basically from a nationwide right, if a woman wants to or needs to get an abortion. Now it's a state-by-state decision. So now it is banned in some states, and in some states it's legal. So the states will decide. So people who live in a state where it's banned, if that needs to happen, will then go to another state where it is legal. So that's what's going on right now. That's why you see that in the news. If you have seen that in the news a lot, that's the reason. Hey, Luke, it's my first time in the chat. But same name, though. You've been in the chat for a while with a different icon. Okay, whatever. I'm so happy that I can join the live stream. Can you tell me how often do you do these live streams and when? I'm planning to do these every Wednesday and Friday. And it should be around the same time, around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's GMT minus 4 or 5, I think, something like that. Do you love Obama? I don't love any politician. There are no politicians that I love. I don't love any of them. Trump's English is easy to camber to the other presidents. Easy camber. I'm not quite sure what you mean there, but yeah, anyway, so that's a little bit about the Supreme Court, how it works. Well, I think we're going to stop for today. I do have an appointment to get to. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. If you haven't already done so, check out my courses. The, again, yearly membership, definitely the best deal going right now. That's the only one where you would get a one-to-one evaluation lesson with me and also help from me throughout the membership as you're going through the courses. Just you can always message me on WhatsApp or Signal and we can talk through stuff. And also access to one of the member chat groups. So if you want access to all of that, including all the courses, please check that out. Would appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe or follow. If you have questions about other stuff, just leave those in the comments. Maybe we'll talk about that in the next one. Thanks again for joining. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all on Friday. See you on Friday. See you on Friday. See you on Friday. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye.